I am Monkey Journalist, and you are welcome to my channel. Power does not fear opposition. It fears precedent. It fears limits that survive it. And it fears memory, because memory is what keeps a system from being rewritten by each new personality that enters it. This is why the most consequential political battles are rarely loud. They do not erupt, they do not explode, they do not announce themselves with sirens and spectacle. They happen in committee rooms, in procedural challenges, in legal language so dry it barely attracts attention. This is where systems either preserve themselves or quietly dissolve. The question now is not whether a president can act. Every president can act. The question is whether a president must justify that action to anyone. Whether power still flows through institutions or merely passes over them. Whether Congress is a partner in governance or a ceremonial relic. Whether treaties are binding or ornamental. Whether oversight is constitutional or hostile. When a leader begins to treat all resistance as sabotage, the system is no longer negotiating policy. It is negotiating reality. War powers exist not because leaders are malicious, but because they are human. Because fear distorts judgment. Because urgency compresses ethics. Because ego resents delay. The founders did not design restraints to slow good people. They designed them to contain certainty. And certainty is the most dangerous political emotion. Certainty does not consult. Certainty does not compromise. Certainty does not wait. It moves. And once it moves with enough force, it becomes difficult to stop without breaking something in the process. This is why internal revolts matter more than external opposition. They reveal that a system has begun to feel unsafe to its own stewards. When lawmakers start acting not out of ideological disagreement, but institutional self-preservation, the problem is no longer partisan. It is structural. They are no longer asking, do I like this policy? They are asking, will this system still exist after it? That question changes everything. Because once political actors begin calculating in generational terms instead of election cycles, they stop treating power as a game. They start treating it as inheritance. Emergency powers are attractive because they bypass friction. And friction is the defining feature of democracy. Democracies are not designed to be efficient. They are designed to be careful. Speed is a liability when mistakes cost lives. But modern politics has trained citizens to associate decisiveness with strength, hesitation with weakness, and deliberation with incompetence. This inversion of values is not accidental. It is cultivated. Strongmen do not need loyalty. They need impatience. They need people to become so tired of complexity that they beg for simplicity, even if that simplicity is false, especially if it is false. Foreign policy is the easiest place to test this logic because it is distant, abstract, emotionally manipulable. It can be framed in existential terms, simplified into threats and symbols, inflated into destiny, and executed without the same level of immediate public scrutiny as domestic policy. War powers are not just about military action. They are about narrative control. They define who decides what constitutes danger. Who gets to declare urgency? Who gets to suspend debate? Once that authority becomes personalized, everything becomes possible. Threats stop being deterrents and become performances. Alliances stop being commitments and become bargaining chips. Diplomacy becomes a spectacle rather than a discipline. And when politics becomes theater, escalation becomes content. What unsettles institutional conservatives is not the rhetoric itself. It is the consequences of being taken seriously. Because words spoken by ordinary people fade, but words spoken by presidents ripple. They move markets, trigger military planning, alter diplomatic postures, shape enemy calculations, force allies to reassess. There is no such thing as hypothetical power at that level. Every statement becomes a variable. Every threat becomes a branch point. Every suggestion becomes a contingency. This is why professional diplomats are cautious to the point of paranoia. They have seen how wars actually begin, not with declarations,